Welcome back, gentlemen, to the fastest fantasy football forum on the Fantasy Jacks podcast. This is week 6. The 08 Lions are losing to We Are Shit. Tony Armani gets his first win of the year, 105.68 to 94.86. A great game by Tony for his standards. And the 08 Lions, look, you made a trade for Saquon this week. You kind of expected to fall short, especially whenever Garrett Wilson was traded. He was by far going to be your best player this week. And you know what, Colin? Although I get the play, you still do, by technicality, get a You Fucked Up award this week for trading away Aaron Jones and Garrett Wilson. That would have resulted in a win for you this week. Tony takes advantage of that. Great job, Tony. No more winless teams, and that's great to see. Good job. We are shit. Next up, Team Diddy falling short to the Dogs. 112.84 to 109.36. Very close game. It came down to Monday night. And honestly, if it wasn't for, I think we can remember one catch by Travis Kelce, the one where it was like 2nd and 34 or whatever they lateraled, because I think he got 15 yards in the play. Tyler loses. So Travis Kelce comes up big time for the Dogs. Team Diddy, a crushing defeat. And when you go to the bench, you see Javonte Williams is sat. He was projected 12.7 points. Very easily could have been started this week, considering you had Juwan Jennings and Jordan Addison. You can play around with those flexes. Either way, you win this week if you start Javonte. And that is why, my friend, you get the second You Fucked Up award this week. Just unfortunate that you messed that up. And you messed that up pretty bad.
This is recording right after my loss against Tyler. Just want to say fuck you, Tyler. Fuck the Steelers. And Judson, I'm coming for you.
And let's go to the other game that was important for this division specifically, and that's the Guardians of Your Mom's House beating off to Grandma. 148.92 to 130.44. I couldn't even say it with a straight face. AJ, that one was for you. Huge scoring week for the Guardians. Jamar Chase, hey, welcome back, buddy. That was great to see. Brandon Ayuk, welcome to the squad. Trey Sermon was a great pickup for the Guardians this week. It really didn't matter either way. I mean, you look at the bench and Joe Burrow went off and Mark Andrews had a good game. I mean, there was definitely some opportunities where off the Grandma could have, taken down the Guardians, but with Malik Neighbors and AJ Brown out, it was going to be kind of tough, just the way it was. And look, still scoring 130 points is very impressive. So it's good that the Guardians took advantage of the weaknesses of Off to Grandma. And look, they beat Off to Grandma. So that's a great thing to do. No more undefeated teams as well. That's a big point of emphasis. No more undefeated teams and no more winless teams as of now. So great job. Next up, let's go to Brees's Backpack absolutely destroying Jack C-Pad 134.08 to 87.86. That's kind of cool how that number is. That's actually really cool. I'm sorry, Jack C-Pad just a terrible week. I mean, look, what is this team? Braylon Allen as your RB2. Sam Darnold, I get it. He's been doing good, but I mean, seriously here? Like, what are we doing? Diontae Johnson has come back to earth. Dalton Kincaid he's like every tight end, to be fair. And you look at your bench, Tyreek Hill, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, but I just don't see the direction of this team. Now Rashee Rice, I think, is for sure out for the year. Christian McCaffrey, yes, he will be coming back, which is great. You just got to get there, though. A lot of question marks for Jack C-Pad. As for Brees's Backpack, the trade, great play, attacking your bye week off of a player that you needed to, you needed to win this week. You got rid of a bye week player. Now, granted, it was Saquon Barkley. Will this pay dividends in the future? I don't know, because Aaron Jones is already hurt. Big problems ahead for Brees's Backpack, but you stay alive today, and that sometimes is all that matters. Next up, before we get to the last game, which is the primetime game, we have Can't Chubb Check taking down Killer Offseason 126.42 to 89.76. Gentlemen, I'm so happy for Judson, right? He finally scored over 80 points. On top of that, he scored over 65 points for the first time in 2 weeks. Congratulations, Judson. That was great to see. Still sucks because you can't even break a 90. Can't Chubb Check literally beat you with waiver wire guys. Look at this. Michael Wilson was off the waivers. Jordan Whittington off the waivers. Ray McLeod off the waivers. Tyrone Tracy off the waivers. He picked up every good player. And you know what? I'm giving Mez a play of the week for that. Because that is Alexander Madison off the waivers. So impressive to have this many guys on your team from the waiver wire, and you picked all of them correctly. You picked all of them correctly because they all scored over 10 points. Besides Madison, everyone scored over 12 points. That's super impressive. Great job by Mez. Complete turnaround here from the old Mez. I mean, this manager right here, Can't Chubb Check, might be the secret sauce. Because this guy is on an absolute roll. Granted, it only took, Judson didn't put up a good fight as it is. Achane injured this game. CeeDee Lamb is nowhere to be found right now. Keenan Allen sucked. Dontavian Wicks sucked. Your best player this week was Geno Smith. Let's just move on. Judson has fallen off a cliff. So let's get to the primetime game. Let's recap it. Bear down. Takes down. Thank you, Damar. 110.8 to 83.3. Look, another stress-free game for Bear down. And he started off hot with Drake London on Thursday night. And that momentum clearly carried over with a couple players like Trey McBride, Cam Akers. Obviously, Baker Mayfield has been pretty decent. I gotta wonder, Zach Moss now injured, Cam Akers' role reduced whenever Joe Mixon comes back. What does the running back room look like for the next few weeks? Raheem Mostert, yes, but Jonathan Taylor's still out. Jonathan Brooks might need to come back pretty quickly. Chris Olave as well. Panic alarms for Chris Olave? Time will tell. Tank Dell still is ass. And as for Dom, Deshaun Watson, you can't really win a game with Deshaun Watson at your quarterback position, even in real life and in fantasy football. That's just a harsh truth. Okay? Derrick Henry played a good game, and it's still not enough. Wan'Dale Robinson played a good game when his name was elevated for your team. 16 points, still not enough. There's just a lot of problems, and maybe he fixes it. I think George Pickens sucks. Just want to point that out there. All right. That was the matchup reviews. Couple You Fucked Up awards, couple plays of the week. Congratulations to those managers. Good and bad, who gives a fuck? We're all just having fun out here. Let's get into the matchup previews, okay? And then after that, we're going to go into the record book, and then we're going to finish off with power rankings. Stay tuned for these previews, because we're going to be going over the news segment, which is picking out the boom and bust players of the week. Alright, we're going to get to the matchup previews for week 6. Guys, we have 2 primetime games this week. I don't know if this has ever been done, but I'm super excited about it because we got some really, really good matchups. You guys better stay tuned for that. And at the end of this segment, please stay tuned because we're going to be debuting something new. I'm going to be doing my boom or bust pick, inaugural, first edition of it. Kind of like I do with the picks and matchups. I'm going to start picking players to go over or under like their boom or bust projections. So I'm going to try and put some money where my mouth is in terms of knowing some ball. And hopefully it's just a little fun thing. I'm just going to do like 2 each. So you guys will see what I mean in a little bit. So let's get right into the picks with Thank You Damar taking on Breece's backpack. Okay, Thank You Damar just made the Joe Burrow trade. And Breece's backpack coming off of the Aaron Jones injury, but Garrett Wilson is looking pretty good right now. This is going to be a tough one. I think it could go either way. I think Dom has some pretty good matchups with Burrow against the Giants and Derrick Henry against Washington, Wan'Dale Robinson against Cincinnati. I think he's got some pretty decent matchups. It's just his team is obviously weaker in terms of firepower. Like whenever you look at Jay Gills, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle. Tyler Algier in the flex is going to be tough to overcome. But look, Anthony Richardson's still probably out. Daniel Jones gets the start against Cincinnati. That's an underrated play. I think he's actually going to do pretty good. So who am I going to pick this week? Well, it says 52 to 48. I think it's more probably 50-50. But I'm going to go with Breece's backpack to take this one. I think the firepower of his team is going to just be too much. Zay Flowers is an underrated play here. It's going to really depend on what the game script is. Is Lamar going to have to throw 40, 50 times like he did last week, or is Derrick Henry going to get 30 rushes? I think, honestly, the Ravens and Washington matchup will pretty much determine the winner of this fantasy matchup, which crazy to say, but true. But that's how I really think that. The next Sunday game, I suppose, Killer offseason taking on Team Didi. It looks like it's a dead even match right now. Unfortunately, Austin is losing Nico Collins to IR for 4 weeks. That's crazy, precautionary. That's super crazy. Pacheco and Nico Collins both out for, I guess, the foreseeable future. So the team is looking really rough. If I had to pick a team this week to win, I think it's going to have to be Killer offseason for me. I mean, look, he's got everyone playing except Devon Achane and Cooper Kupp, obviously. But in terms of how Achane has been performing recently, it's not really anything different. Let's just hope Judson can score 100 points this week. I think that's all it's going to take. Before we get into the next matchup, I forgot to mention I had an awful week last week in the picks. I did 1-5. I went 1-5 in the picks, so that's pretty bad. So let's move on. We are shit taking on Off to Grandma. Off to Grandma getting beat last week, now 4-1. That one's for you, AJ. And Tony getting his first win last week. Both guys looking to, either continue their momentum or bounce back. Either way, Off to Grandma is coming back with some reinforcements. AJ Brown and Malik Neighbors coming back, and not in the starting lineup right now. I don't know why. But when you look at We Are Shit, projected under 100 points, and you go to the bench, it's not really much he can do except, I would say, Chase Brown and Rashad White. But hey, he's looking to play Tank Bigsby, I guess, and Allen Lazard. I don't know, but I've been wrong about Tony's matchup stuff before. So regardless, it's Off to Grandma is going to win this one. Guys, let's not overthink it. He is the best roster as of now, I believe, going up against probably the, I think, worst roster right now. Let's move on over to the last Sunday matchup. This is going to be a really good game, guys. I'm really excited for it. Can't Chubb Check taking on the Dogs. I don't want to say it's a must-win for the Dogs, but dropping down to 2-4 with AJ being as good as he is right now, it's going to be really hard to come back in the division. So it's pretty much a must-win game for the Dogs. And he's got some pretty good matchups, all right? Bijan against Carolina. Najee against Vegas. No more Christian Wilkins. That's huge for him. Amari Cooper against Philadelphia. Jameson Williams against Dallas. Tucker Kraft against Arizona. Terry McLaurin against Baltimore. Right? He's got some pretty good matchups. Some bad with Josh Allen and Brian Thomas. But when we look at Mez on the other side, you got Lamar against Washington. Amon-Ra against Dallas. You have Jake Ferguson against Detroit. It's going to be a pretty big kind of coin flip almost, right? I like the Dogs matchups more, but obviously Can't Chubb Check's team is better. Here's my upset pick of the week. I'm going with the Dogs. I'm going with Ty to get his third win. I think he's found something. I think he's going to get some momentum off of last week. 112 last week. I think he honestly scores 130, 140. This might be his big boom week, considering how bad Bijan has been, how bad Amari Cooper has been, and how good Terry and Brian Thomas have been. So I think it's going to be a great week for the Dogs. And now, guys, let's get into the primetime games this week. Let's start off with, I guess we can call this Sunday Night Football. 08 Lions taking on the Guardians of Your Mom's House.
What is going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. Big week. Got Jackson looking for a statement win. First time my team's going to be all together after, the trade I made. I think Downs is going to have a big week now with the Pittman stuff, and I just think that things are looking up. Tough loss to Tone for sure, but I like where I'm sitting. Just need Jordan Love, Jaden Reed stack, keep doing his thing. I think DeAndre Swift is heating up, giving me a bunch of confidence, and yeah, dude, I'm pumped. High scoring game. He's projected like 130, so a little intimidated, but we're not scared. We're gonna go out there and do our thing. It all starts tomorrow. DK on Thursday night, so looking forward to it. Appreciate it.
Projection totals are through the roof on this game, by far the highest. I think it's the number 1 and number 2 highest projections of the week. Colin with 122, myself with 130. And you look at the matchups, it's pretty much dead even, with like 4 or 5 great matchups each, and then a couple, I don't really love it, right? So it's going to be a good game. It's probably going to be in contention for a record in the next segment, which you guys should stick around and watch for. Both teams coming in pretty much fully healthy, no one on bye except Jaylen Waddle, who wouldn't have got at the start anyways. I mean, look, both these teams they're top 4 for a reason. 3-2, not a pivotal week, but a pretty big week in terms of putting yourself on the map in that, like, this is the actual contender. I think the winner of this game is going to go into true contender status. Right now, we think we know the 4. This one really separates. Obviously, Colin just came off the Saquon Barkley trade. Team looks really good. The identity is strong with Saquon and Jameer. And then you look at the Guardians with Kamara and Chase and the wide receiver room, right? I mean, it's just a well-rounded squad. Jane Daniels is looking great as well. Who do I have to win this game? I don't know. Okay, Colin's team played really bad last week, and it kind of concerns me in terms of just, law averages. He's going to bounce back, right? That's just kind of how it works. So I'm going to go, and considering the Guardians scored 150 last week, Jamar Chase isn't scoring 50 again, right? Or 40 again. I think I'm going to go the 08 Lions here. The tipping point for me is the bounce back ability of the 08 Lions, I believe. I think the Guardians kind of mellow out to 110, 115. I don't think that's enough to beat the 08 Lions this week at all. Guys, I'm not even going to lie to you. I just recorded this, and I thought to myself, you know what, let me just go back all time. Because this is a big rivalry. This is a big primetime game, okay? Spoiler alert, it's Chris and Brock, right? Everyone's favorite week. At least their favorite weeks. They're going to be sending in videos. I'm going to be playing them soon. But I got to show you guys something. Because rarely do we find a matchup that's actually super, like, a real rivalry. I think this is it. I think every single week, from what I have found, it's always a good game. Maybe I jinx it this week because I'm talking about it and I'm bringing it up. But this is going to be, guys, no bullshit, I think a great week. Let me take you guys back, okay, to 2021. Where the Mahomo, as he was called, beat Brock. The first matchup of that season, Chris won 131 to 122, okay? 17-point game. Spoiler, I think that's the biggest, second biggest marginal disparity. Because then you go to later on in that season, they didn't play again for the rest of the regular season. They go to the championship. Chris scores 152 points to 99 over Brock. Okay, everyone remembers that game. The 7-7 squad snuck into the playoffs and took down the number 1 team. Right now, Brock is 0-2 against Chris, all time. Go to the next year, 2022. It starts off early with some fireworks again, with Chris Broncos Country Let's Ride taking down King Quan at the time, 96.88 to 90.2. Chris, at this point, now 3-0 all time against Brock. Go on later into that season. We get our first, look at this, 117.32 to 116.02. 1.3 points. Chris wins by. He's now 4-0 against Brock at this point. Fast forward to the next season. This is it, guys. Week 6, which we are gearing up for this week, is the record-setting week of the smallest point game, smallest margin of victory ever. Chris beat Brock by 0.08 points. Now 5-0 against Brock all time. And then you go to the most recent matchup last year. Even still, look at this. Brock gets his first win, but it's by less than a point. 145.36 to 144.68. Guys, I cannot make this up. Not only is Chris 5-1 all time against Brock, but every game they play is super close except the championship game a couple years ago. Since then, it has been fireworks every single year. That is awesome. I think this is going to be a great matchup this week. Before we get into the breakdown, let me give the floor to those managers sending in videos. I know they are really excited about doing this. So here it is. Here's Brock and Chris.
Good evening, boys. Week 6, back-to-back primetime games for the kid. And, I'd be lying to you if I haven't had this one marked down for a while, because I've had this one marked down for months. and I know Chris has too. But, you know, the weirdest thing that happened last week when he was going against Jay Gill in his so-called bye week, that he did end up losing, by the way. But he said he was done talking, and it's just, the timing's just so weird to me, especially since, you know, Brock Lambert's team is about to roll in and take on Chris, when we've been talking about this for months. It's crazy, you know? Like, I mean, I got a couple injuries that I could do or die with, and it is what it is, but at the end of the day, it's me versus Chris, and I mean, 10 out of 10 times, I win that matchup fair and square, and, you know, Chris is going to have to pull a fucking bunny out of his hat to make this one work for him, and that it is what it is. I guess that's just what happens when you have an eyebrow slit. Everything just goes downhill from the start.
You know what I mean?
But we're gonna take our chances this week and, you know, have some fun with it. Might have a couple questionable starts, but that just goes with playing Chris. You're allowed to do that, and it's great because now I get my bye week, and it's awesome. I mean, life couldn't get better, and you know, Chris just talks so much, and I feel like everybody's had enough. And having an under 500 record now, I mean, decides to stop talking now, it just kind of goes without saying what kind of person he is and what kind of loser he is. I mean, sucks to suck, but I mean, you know what's going to happen when I roll in down to Chris's team, and I got nothing else. I mean, Team Bear Down is ready to fucking bear the fuck down. Caleb Williams might get a start this week. First start since week 1, and we're gonna kill it. We're gonna kill it. And now we got Devontae. I've been winning games without a full strength squad, and even this week, we're pretty full strength, and we might have a couple guys out, but Chris knows what he's up against, and I don't have to tell him. He's screwed. He loses this week, drops down to 2-4. It's just not a pretty sight for anybody, and I'd hate to do that to his confidence. I'd actually love to do that to his confidence, because the world has been a lot better without hearing Chris in the group chat every single day talking. But he knows what he's up against this week, so he decided to settle down and take a step back. But that's not going to stop anyone from killing him every week in and week out, and it is what it is. So all the rest of you boys, good luck. Jackson, please take down Colin. I would really like to bump up to first in the division, but it's, you know, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It always has been and always will be. Fuck you, Chris, and good luck. Good fucking luck, because we're coming in hot. So we'll see you Sunday. And, you know, the only thing I really hope for you is that you can get over 100 points. That would be fucking awesome, because I just haven't seen that out of your team for a while. And, you know, don't even worry about winning, man. Don't even worry about winning, because if you guys get over 100 points, it's going to be fantastic. And I'll be happy for you. It'll be a happy loss, Chris. And at the moment, that's about all you can hope for. So, good luck, buddy. And we'll see the rest of you boys on Sunday.
Week 6. It is here. I've had this day circled on my calendar for a while. Now we got Brock this week. And just found out about a Pittman injury, so that's always fun. Middle of the week. Picked up Alec Pierce. We'll see how he does. But, you know, when you look at it, it's a pretty even matchup. It really is. He's got London. I got Cousins this week. He's got Mayfield. I got Mike. So, you know, there's some potential there. I think everything is as good as it can be on my team right now, besides my running back position. But this ain't a roster breakdown. Brock just loves to talk shit as soon as he gets above 500. It's unreal. Every year, you know, he's quiet. But he just gets right above 500 and runs his mouth like he has a ring. And I hate it. I hate it. Oh, man. But, you know, it's always good competition with Brock. It's always a close game. I still don't think he knows what he's doing. Personally, I don't think anybody knows what they're doing if they don't have a ring. That's just me, though. I don't think Brock's gonna win it this year. It ain't his year. It's never been his year. Even if I don't win, I know Brock ain't winning this shit. But yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be fun, and I can't wait. Cannot wait to be 3-3. It's gonna be a good time.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm super excited to see who wins this week. Let's break it down. Listen, I don't think this is going to be a lopsided win for either side this week either. History has shown that these guys, for whatever reason, they play each other really, really well. Chris is dominating the win-losses, but it's always close. I mean, have 3 wins by less than, 2 points in the history? I mean, that's crazy. Unfortunate for Brock, sure, if you want to look at it that way. But this is going to be no stranger. This is going to be a really close game. I'm expecting, at least, with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss both going to be out this week. Maybe Jonathan Taylor plays, but not 100%. But on top of that, I mean, you look at Chris's squad, it's not really good, right? I mean, maybe it's better unless something crazy happens, right? Jacob's probably going to have a good game. Stefon Diggs is, I don't know, it's in New England, so maybe he has a good game with no Nico, but you can't really buy into that, right? Kirk Cousins in Carolina, I think, will be good, but there's so many question marks on this squad. You go to the other side, right? Baker Mayfield against New Orleans, I don't love. Chris Olave with no Derek Carr, I don't love. Again, no running backs. Tank Dell, again, he looks good, but it's against New England now. The best matchup for Brock's team is Drake London against Carolina, but that could be really game script dependent. I personally would be a little worried about that, especially with his high projection total. Trey McBride against Green Bay. So who do I have winning this week? The Sunday Night Football. This is the premier game this week. I have Chris winning this week. I think he goes to 6-1 all time against Brock. I know he doesn't want to hear that, and I totally understand. But I have to be, that's just who I think. This is going to be a great week of football. Let's get into now the boom and bust picks. All right, guys, here it is. My new segment, I suppose. My new segment, my boom and bust picks of the week. If you guys are betting men, you can go ahead and I know Flip doesn't have fantasy points in terms of a bet, but you can do overs or unders based on what I say here. I'm going to be going over 2 booms. Now the boom, it's not projection total, it's the break line in their profile that says if they score over this amount of points this week, it's a boom. And if it's scoring under this line, it's a bust. So I'll hope you understand. I don't know if it changes, and I did this last night making my picks, so let's go over it. The first boom I have is Jayden Reed going over 21 points this week against Arizona. I think the pack stack is going to come to play this week against the Guardians. So Colin, congratulations. My next boom, maybe a crazy pick actually. I have Ramondre Stevenson going over 16.3 points this week against the Texans. AJ, you're going to have a great play here. I don't think you really need it, but I think it's going to happen because Drake May starting. The Houston interior line is already weak. I think Ramondre gets a lot of just 4 or 5 yard gains. Plus, he's probably got to get a touchdown and a lot of dump offs this week because, like I said, Drake May is starting this week. So I think Ramondre goes over 16.5 points this week, basically. 16.3 to be specific. So those are my 2 booms, Jayden Reed and Ramondre Stevenson. My 2 busts this week. I have my first one, James Cook, going under 7.8 points. He's had a pretty good floor this season. I think with the new Jets defense, the new Jets leadership coming out after firing Saleh, I think they really lock in and they take away James Cook this week, whether that be in the run game, whatever, out of the backfield on swing routes, whatever. I don't think he's going to get a lot of checkdowns. I don't think he's going to get anything going on the run. The Jets have been a pretty good run defense this year, so I expect that to stay. And I think they're just going to take away James Cook's PPR value. Now, obviously, if he gets a touchdown, all this goes out the water, but I just don't see it this week personally. Next, I have Brian Thomas Jr. going under 8.8 points this week. Look, he's got a bad matchup against Chicago. They're a great pass defense, and I'd imagine they put Jalen Johnson on Brian Thomas to slow him down. He's been going crazy the past couple weeks. he is a rookie. I think growing pains, he's going to take a step back this week. So Ty, I'm sorry. I know you got him. I know he's been your guy. But I have him going under 8.8 points this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed that segment. Not just, I think he's going to get to his projection or go over his projection. No. I'm going balls to the walls, over like his booms, and I'm going to go bust. Let's go to the record book segment of this video, and then we're going to close out with the power rankings. Hope you guys enjoyed the matchup previews, reviews. I hope you guys have enjoyed everything so far. I'm super excited to get into this next segment, guys. I like numbers. I like to find out these records and things. We kind of talked about it in the interview, the first take episode with Colin and Tony. It's just like something about this league. It's just fun to have this kind of prosperity. I mean, we already do the forum, so might as well just go all out. You know what I'm saying? That's why I kind of thought to do this record book segment, right? I think it's going to be great. Some of these records are still standing from the first year that the league was be restarted, basically. So, and if anyone wants to see this, I can, I'm going to put up the records on the screen anyways, but if anyone wants, like, the actual constitution, I got all the rules and past winners, past losers, the Festus Fantasy Football record books. I know a lot of you guys would like to know some records. I've heard most points scored all time, lowest points scored all time. Here's the thing, okay? Since I've done it this year, I didn't do like first, second, and third all time. I just did first all time. So this is the record. However, if it gets broken this year or the year after, whatever, I'm not going to delete this. So I'll just move it down to a second place, right? And then once we get to like 3 or 4, then I'll start kind of taking them out. But for right now, since it's just the first place all time, I'm going to just keep it like this. And then if the record gets broken, then we'll just move it down the list. So you'll see what I mean. The most matchup points scored all time, regular season, was in week 14 of 2021. Austin Dudgeon scored 180.22 points. I don't remember the matchup. I think it was against Dom, if I had to remember. Maybe not Dom, maybe somebody. But he scored 180.22 points. The lowest matchup points scored all time in the regular season was Judson of week 4 this year. And before that, it was Judson. And then before that, it was Judson. So he is no stranger to the lowest points scored all time. So, moving on. The most matchup points scored in the playoffs ever is Dom in round 2 of 2022, the year that he won. He scored a 187.48 points against Colin. And this record is not only the most in the playoffs, it's obviously the most all-time and regular season included. I don't know if this record will ever get broken. 187 points. No one's ever gotten to the 200 mark. I think it's possible, but it might not be possible, honestly. I have no idea. The lowest matchup points scored in the playoffs ever is, again, Dom. But in 2021, for round 2, he scored 76.16 points. Safe to say he did not win that week. So look at Dom, already having 2 records. Judson with a record. Austin with a record. The most trades made in a season. This is going to really shock you guys, because I did not believe these numbers. Chris and Mez both in 2023 made a total, them separately, 12 trades. They are tied for first with the most trades all time. The least amount of trades made in a season is another tie, actually. And conveniently, it is Ty. In 2021, he made 0 trades. Yes, he made 0 trades in 2021. But not only that, there was also a tie, and Judson made 0 trades that season as well. So you can't break this record, but maybe you can just get updated. So the least amount of trades in the season made is 0. I wonder if that'll ever happen again. Honestly, I doubt it. But I guess AJ is on pace. All right, here are some really cool stats. Not including the playoffs. Obviously, this is just regular season. Most points scored in a season is Ty in 2021, where he scored 1,975.76 points. Almost 2,000 points. That's insane. Tied 1975. I think this was the Cooper Cup year. Insane numbers right there. The most points allowed in a season is myself in 2021, giving up 1,795.52, making the playoffs that year. I just want to remind everybody. But yeah, I am no stranger to giving up a lot of points. I actually broke my own record like twice. The lowest points scored in a season is Jay Gill in 2022, scoring 1,368 points, or 0.52 points. That is such an astronomically low number. I'm going to do some actually quick math right here because I'm curious. 1,368.52 divided by 14 is he averaged 97 points a game. He didn't even average 100 points. In context, Tyler, in his crazy season, averaged that 141 fucking points. Holy shitballs. The disparity between the top and bottom on that record is insane. That's crazy. Sorry, the least amount of points allowed in a season is also myself, actually. In 2023, I only allowed 1,468.36 points. The most wins all time. I like this stat. This is a good stat. I think can be broken. It's almost at its top, not fully able to be broken yet. But it is myself. In 2022, I had 11 wins. That is the record for most all time. But hold on. Tyler Wright comes back into the picture, scoring in 2021 with 11 wins as well. So it is a tie for first there with Jackson and Ty at 11 wins. Will that be broken this year? AJ is well on pace to go 12-2. It'd be cool to see that. Least amount of wins in a season is Jay Gill in 2022, only getting 2 wins. I thought for sure Mez was going to get this last year, and he turned it on. So Jay Gill, not forgetting any, hopefully no one forgets, only had 2 wins in 2022. I think that was that his last place campaign? I don't remember. The longest regular season win streak is Ty in 2021. I mean, that 2021 season for Ty was insane. It's crazy that it did not result in a championship that year. I think that's insane. I mean, look at the pure dominance in 2021 for Ty. The longest regular season losing streak is Jay Gill in 2022. On the flip side of Ty's incredible season, 2022 was terrible for Jay Gill. Alright, just a couple more records here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you guys come up with any more records that you'd like to know of, tell me, and then I can add them to it and go back and try and find if I can. The biggest blowout of all time in Festus Fantasy Football history is Dom over Jay Gill. Jay Gill just had a tough year, outscoring him by 91.94 points in Week 12 of 2022. Just add insult to injury for Jay Gill. He has been on the wrong side of some records in Festus Fantasy, unfortunately. The smallest victory all time. This is a good one. It happened last year. You guys might remember it. It was Chris over Brock, Week 6 of 2023. Chris won by 0.08 points. There's been a couple 0.1s, a couple 0.2s. Never under that. 0.08 points, and that's insane. Alright, 2 more here. Most points in a single matchup ever, in a regular, I think this is regular season, was in Week 9 of 2022, where Colin scored 170 points, beating Tyler, who had 161 points, 170.74 and 161.36, equaling 332.1 total points in a regular season matchup. That, I don't want to say will never be broken, but that's probably the most out of reach record. I mean, 332 points is unheard of. Unless someone scored 200 one week, I think, even Austin, who scored 180 points, he couldn't even get the record. That just goes to show how many points you actually need and how many stars have to align for this 2-year-old record. And the last record I have is the lowest amount of points in a single matchup, the under smacked in this one. Week 14 of 2022, Jay Gill scored 75.76 points, beating, yes, one of his 2 wins this year was beating Tony, who scored 64.56 points, equaling 140.32 total points. That's a crazy disparity. Both Colin and Tyler outscored this matchup on their own with comfortable margins, by the way. And that is it for the record book. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I liked that stuff. I think it's fun to check all that out, and I'm gonna keep it updated regularly. So now we can kind of keep tabs on stuff in the league. I think it was fun whenever we were on record watch for Judson. So this will be a new fun aspect to our league, I think. I'm really excited about it. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, if you have any records that you would like me to find, or maybe some like concurrent records like winning percentage or championships or wins or whatever. I wanted to do waiver wire ads in a season, but I couldn't quite figure out the number for it because there was a couple of numbers, so I just didn't touch it. If you guys wanted me to do it, I could kind of figure it out, or maybe IR or whatever. With that being said, though, let's move on to the final segment of this forum. I think this has been a great Week 6 forum, and let's get into the power rankings. All right, gentlemen, let's finish this episode, this forum episode. It's been a great episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Off with the power rankings for this week. This has already been kind of a longer episode, so I'm going to kind of keep it a little bit shorter with these power rankings. I don't know if it's too debatable now because of, being this far into the season, we kind of know who each team is and what teams are going to be in the future, unless, like I said, some crazy trade happens. So I'm thinking that we just kind of go a little quicker, right? If there is something I want to touch on, though, I will. So at number 12 for, I think, the third straight week, we have Team Armani. Just congrats on your first win. That's huge. But still, I'm not loving the roster. At number 11, I have Team Didi falling from 10th place last week. He got the tough loss, I understand that. However, Nico Collins is now going to be injured possibly for a week or two with a hamstring injury. And for the outlook part of this whole formula that I do, just in my brain, I can't have him any higher, can't have him staying there because Nico Collins is quite literally his best player. And plus, Jonathan Brooks is coming back in a couple weeks for Chuba. At number 10, that means Thank You Tomorrow is moving up, which, good for him. He was crying for it. And I don't love the team. We actually just made that trade, the Burrow for Spears trade, so I think that actually does help his team out a lot, just because now he doesn't have to play Grover Cleveland at quarterback. He gets to play Joe freaking Burrow, which I think is great for this squad. It gives him that plug-and-play guy. Now we can go make some other moves, and good for Thank You Tomorrow. At number 9, I have killer offseason, Judson's team. Devon Achane is now injured. And CeeDee Lamb, I think, is still going to be good. Travis Etienne, potentially losing his workload. Who knows? Flex players are not performing good. Who knows what tight end is like? It's all over the place. This team has fallen so far. Number 8, I have JaxyPad. Chris's squad. JaxyPad for Chris. And number 8, again, staying here at this lower middle area because the potential is there with Tyreek, Tua coming back, and CMC. However, I don't totally love the squad right now, so you gotta stay down here. If CMC is fully healthy when he comes back, I think JaxyPad is a playoff team. Barring any more injuries, Tyreek being back the way Tyreek is. Tyreek and CMC on the same team, that's the number 1 and number 3 overall picks in fantasy. This year, that's a pretty good squad. As for number 7, Ty, team's looking good. I think still always got to be tinkering with things. Got to fight really hard to stay in. Travis Kelce looks a lot better. Bijan, though. Bijan looks bad. Concern, for sure. Number 6, I got Breece's backpack. Huge trade for Garrett Wilson. It paid off for you last week. Good job. But even still, do you trust that Garrett Wilson is the wide receiver 1 for your team? I don't know. If it was my team, I would not feel comfortable. And now Aaron Jones is injured, so you're really in the same place as you just were because you have a star player and then nothing else. Basically trading Saquon for Garrett Wilson. I don't think anyone in their right mind would do that. Hopefully some things happen. I don't know. Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson stack, I hate that. Aaron Jones and TJ Hawkinson stack when he comes back. I just don't like stacks personally. But if you do, then great. Number 5, bear down. Tough injuries recently, starting to come back from it, right? Which is a great sign. Devontae Smith coming back from injury. Tank Dell coming back from injury, even though he's ass. Trey McBride came back from injury. He looks like probably the tight end 2 on the season, tight end 3 next to Kittle and Bowers. Tough it is at tight end this year. Quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Sustainable? Probably. I like it. Chris Olave is a problem. I know no one wants to talk about it. I know you don't want to accept it. But Chris Olave is a problem. Drake London, yes, I may be eating my words on him. But Chris Olave is a problem for your team. Just think about it. At number 4, I have the Guardians of your mom's house. Love the roster. Love the points. The most points scored in the league right now. Off 2 straight wins. Everything's looking great for the Guardians. Everything's looking really, really good. Let's just hope no injuries happen. Again, it's one of the healthier teams in the league. And it has the depth. I really like this team's outlook. I think they can make a run to the playoffs. Again, barring injury. Just trading for Tajay. They have a running back for the rest of the year. Titans running back. Not anything great, but it is a running back. Number 3, Doyle. Absolutely love this roster map. Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon Barkley, I think, is the best running back room in the whole entire league. On top of that, underrated wide receiver room, you have DK Metcalf and Jayden Reed. Fantastic wide receiver room. Laporta needs to do better, but you can win alone off of those 4 players. Flexes as well, Christian Kirk, and a few other guys in there. Look, I didn't think Garrett Wilson was going to do great for you. I think Aaron Jones it was a matter of time before he was going to get injured. Look what happened. Your roster is absolutely insane. I have you at 3 just because I want to see one more week now with the full squad together, right? You're not moving because you lost. You're just moving because I haven't seen it with Saquon yet. But I'm pretty sure once I see it this week, and it's funny that we play each other, I think it's going to be really, really good. At number 2, Can't Chubb check. And you want to know something? I think the reason that I had Mez so high this year is because, quite frankly, he's made great managing moves. He just has. Look at this week. He picked up everybody off the street, it seemed like, and he still won a game. Now, granted, his opponent did not put up that many points, but when you have that many players out on bye and injury, how do you survive that? Mez did it. This is a new Mez. You love to see it. I'm excited to see what moves he makes down the road. He has Devontae Adams. No one knows what's happening there. Great running backs, win healthy. And finally, to finish off the power rankings, once again, number 1 team in the league, off to grandma. Lost last week. However, you had 2 of your best players out in A.J. Brown and Malik Neighbors. The crazy part about this roster is that whenever your team is fully healthy, you have a a middle to ground wide receiver 2 in DJ Moore in terms of fantasy rankings as your last flex spot. I don't think you realize how fucking insane that is. Kyron Williams is a touchdown machine. You can ride that all the way onto the season if you want to. You have a great roster. Do you need to make a move? Do not be complacent like Judson. Just keep that in mind. So with that out of the way, guys, hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, I was going to kind of not rush through, but just, I don't want to repeat the same things that I say every single week for the power rankings, right? We all kind of know. However, some stats are going to start being more used, like points for, points allowed. What are you guys doing for you fucked up, or is it a managerial problem? Those questions are going to start to being more prevalent in these power rankings, not just roster. Because now we're in the middle of the season, I would say, and we all have a pretty good idea of where guys are. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you are into that. I don't know if you're not in the league and you subscribe. Go for it. I don't care. It's cool. Good luck to everybody this week, except Colin. I hope your team sucks. Take care.